on your website, you have a tagline and it says, "Who you become in your journey is far more important than what you achieve." Like, talk about that. Like, why
Yeah.
have you found that to be true, and why is that important to you?
So I was a terrible student in high school and college, frankly. I liked working, but I didn't like school. And I never saw the value of learning or being educated. I only did well when I liked the teacher. And if I didn't like the teacher, I was not a good student. But when I got into business and I opened my first franchise, first when I got into sales, if you learn the right script, like how to say to that secretary as you walk up to him, "Hey, I really like your hair," or what is it about them that's special that they want you to draw attention to? And then when you get into real estate sales, what scripts can you say that will help the client to remember that if you see 10 homes, you don't have to remember all 10 of them. Like, one of my favorite lines is, "I'm going to show you 10 homes today, but I only want you to remember two, because you can't remember 10. So remember your favorite and your second favorite, and that's it." And that line alone helped me help my clients make a buying decision. So then I became addicted to learning. I began to realize, wow, if I learn the right thing to say or the right thing to frame thing, I can actually serve people to make better decisions. And then when I opened my first franchise and I learned how to hire and how to manage a budget and how to sort of approach leadership, and all of that would manifest in my business immediately, like within a month. So originally when I started, like many people, I was the bottleneck and I wanted every decision to run through me. Well, as my world got bigger and bigger, I wasn't delegating trust. I wasn't leading effectively. And I remember saying to one of my managers, "Where's that lease? We need to sign that new lease." And she said, "I gave it to you a month and a half ago. It's been sitting on your inbox." And sure enough, I went and looked at my inbox and there was that lease that I felt like I should read for some reason as a C student with no legal background. But I was the bottleneck because I wanted that control. And as I let go of that, I was like, okay. And I'm making it sound simple. It was actually, I had an identity crisis. I had to hire therapists. I went through shingles for stress. But when I went through this 6-month journey, what I realized was that leadership is different from management. And that if I try to be the bottleneck for all things, my world will be limited to my capability of work. Whereas if I can hire great leaders and delegate to them and trust the decisions they can make, my world can get bigger and bigger. So all of this is a long way around of telling you that my external world is exactly a reflection of who I've become as a human being. And so I am now addicted to learning. Who you become on the journey is way more important than what you achieve or what journey you're on. And it's simply because your world will be a reflection of who you are. And I'm committed to that to this day, Michael. I'm still working on so many different areas of my life to improve myself as a human being. Whether it's to be a better dad. I got the best relationship with my kids I have right now. And frankly, I have an older daughter who's 33, and I was a poor dad for her. I have a 12-year-old and I was a good dad for her. And I have a son and I'm being a great dad for him. And I can see the difference in each one and how I approached it and what I did right, what I did wrong. Does that make sense? They're all great kids. I'm not beating myself up. I'm just saying what I'm learning continuously. The other area I'm putting a lot of effort into is health. So I'm really focused on, I have a 4-year-old and I'm 54. So my game that I'm playing with myself is, what can I do to be around till I'm 100? Because at 54, when I'm 70, he's 20. So he's graduating college. I'm 72. Some people, the average lifespan in America is 77. I would like to see my son get married, get a job, have children, whatever his destiny is. I'd like to be around for some of that, as much of it as I can. I'm not God, so I can't pretend that I can control it. But what I can do is pay attention to what I eat, intermittent fast, hire the best doctors. I have a concierge doctor right now. I'm doing no sugar September. I'm doing no alcohol, for 2/3 of every week. There's just so many different things that I've added to my life. And it all ties back to that original quote you said, is like, who you are is way more important than what you know or what you do.
So David, you said, so you spent a lot of time though, getting to this spot financially for yourself. So, there's always this thought that goes through my head. It's like, well, is it necessary to sacrifice everything to get to that financial freedom level? Where you're like, well, listen, if I spend 12 hours for the next 5 years, that's all I do. I eat, sleep, and breathe when I'm doing, or 10 years or whatever it is. But you have to sacrifice a lot, and then you can focus on the other stuff. Do you see that being as a major path forward, or is there some version of that maybe you can enjoy your life in other areas, and also, still get rich? because it's definitely on a lot of people's minds, I'm sure, that are trying, they're just like, dude, I'm just working 12 hours a day in my business. I don't know if I've figured it out.
Well, I think it's a great question. And I think now I make more money. I work less hours than I make more money in a year now. I do more deals in a year than I did in 10 years, and I make more money, and I'm not working harder. I'm just really much smarter, and I have a really good team. So, the sooner you can get to working smarter and having that team, the sooner you have that freedom. I think young kids today, younger people, are actually really focused on life balance. And I think that's super healthy. I don't know that, having masses of wealth really changes anything. I mean, it definitely makes you feel a little different and it opens up some doors, but it's not in and of itself a solution to anything, right? There's plenty of miserable rich people and there's plenty of happy poor people. So yes, I think there probably is a way to do it. I personally felt like when I was working, and probably for 10 years, I really grounded as hard as I could. And by the way, there were people that could outwork me back then. I would work, 12-hour days. Some guys I knew were doing 16 and 18-hour days. I didn't have the engine for that. My engine would break but I could get in 60 or 80-hour weeks, somewhere in that range, for a long period of time. And my theory was, well, I'm out working everybody. Most people, not everybody. I'm working, 1.5 to 2 weeks every week. And so in 5 years, I put in 10 years worth of work, right? And there's an equation of what value you bring to the marketplace. That's how you get paid. And, if you overwork, you should get paid more. And it certainly, it works in sales. You can ask any salesperson, the more you work, the more sales you get. Is it the wisest strategy? It's definitely a strategy, right? And when you're making all those mistakes too for 10 years, you're getting double the life lessons in a 10-year period. But I would much rather be a person that could coach people out on having a work-life balance from the beginning. And if you were able to invest wisely and, had some things go your way and you were prudent about it, I think maybe one thing I did learn early, which was useful from one of my coaches, and this was probably 5 years in when I was really struggling. He goes, the first thing I do every year is I book a killer vacation every quarter. So even though he was working 100 hours a week or 80 hours a week, he would book 4 killer vacations. And that was the most important thing to him. So along the way, I've just gathered all these tools. That's why if you looked at my goals, you'd see the first goal is 6 killer little family vacations, 1 epic. So you integrate that and you're like, yeah, you might be working really hard, but then you got those 5 days in Cabo you're looking forward to, or 5 days in Europe, or 2 weeks in Europe. And if you can force balance by having some really good experiences in there as well. But I'm not the guy that could write a book, Garrett, on how to live a balanced life and build a bunch of money, because I did not live balanced.
Well, you wrote this book here, it's called Wealth Can't Wait. So I don't know if you're telling the exact truth here, but let me ask you a question. How do you define wealth? Because obviously it's money, right? But maybe that's evolved for you over the years. Like, how would you define that now?
Well, a wealthy life to me is not just money. A wealthy life, health and wealth are one letter different. Wealth used to be a greeting. People used to say, "Welly be with you," and it meant like good wealth to you, good health to you. It was very similar. It just means I wish everything goes well for you. So it doesn't behoove me to let you be a person that works 100 hours a week, divorces their wife, loses half their assets, and their children don't speak to them, right? Like that, to me, that's failure. That's not wealth. You might have a lot of money, but you're still a failure. So for me, wealth has been an expanding world universe that means all these things. It means money. It means managing your money effectively. It means cash flow from investments, like financial freedom. But it also means, being as good a human as you can be, finding a way to contribute, having abundant adventures in your life, being well learned, again, I'm a C student, right? So I'm not stupid, but I'm not an academic. But today I read more books, 40 books a year, 30 to 50 books most years. I listen to books on tape. I'm doing podcasts. It's just that also to me is wealth, having freshness in your brain and having information in your brain. So, and wisdom. So to me, wealth is kind of a well-rounded approach to life, not just a money thing.
So David, you actually created this amazing group called GoBundance. And first of all, why did you create it? And second of all, why is it important to surround yourselves with the right people?
Wow. Well, the second question is so important. Like, I'm just going to go right there, which is who you are, who you surround yourself with. There's just no question. This is life. we are like clay, and we're not like God. So we're not molding ourselves with our clay. If your best buds love ultimate frisbee on the weekend, like I'm playing volleyball all the time, only because I have a bunch of people I really like that play volleyball. Like that's an example of how you're shaped. Unfortunately, when I was early on in sales is a pretty hard business. Everyone around me drank. Guess what? I drank a lot, like not at alcoholic level, but like I drank pretty much every night after work. We would go drink. And I probably did that for those same 10 years that I was working all that time. Right. Today, about half my friends don't drink at all and half drink lightly. So I'm a social drinker. I might drink 2 or 3 days a week, period. That's it. Most of my friends today are committed to their health. I'm committed to my health. So who you hang out with is exactly going to determine who you are. And there's just, the John Wayne idea that our parents had of being this super huge independent, like, John Wayne died of cancer. Like, so let's be real. Like we are social animals. We're not the kings of this earth because we were able to take on a lion with our bare hands. We're the kings of this earth because we work as a pack, as a tribe to take down all the predators and to build a meat supply and to plant and grow crops and to raise our kids. In fact, the genius of humans is sharing and connectivity. And so you are going to be who you hang around with. And once you get that, it's painful. Like when I learned this, I had to shed a few of my friends who were living with their moms and smoking pot every day. Like I still like them. They called me, I'd still take their call, but I don't call them. I'm not looking I'm only looking to elevate, right? And I've got all the room in the world for you if you want to elevate, either as my peer or as someone that I mentor. I mentor hundreds of people, probably maybe thousands, but I've got all the day and time in the world for somebody striving, like a Diego Corzo, who we all know and love. He's probably been on your show, but he's an amazing guy with just a dreamer who overcame some incredible hurdles and is super positive, is just making a difference in the world. And then having peers that push me and drive me, like not in the old intense way, but in the way of like, hey, did you take your wife on a date night? Hey, have you taken your kids somewhere, like Jim Shields with the family boardroom? Have you taken your kids somewhere and done something? So I'm really interested in surrounding myself with people that inspire me because of what they do, where they're a genius that I can then draw from, and then I can share my genius with them. So every single part of my life is about finding those better people. In fact, recently I met David Sinclair. I don't know if you've heard of David Sinclair, but he wrote Lifespan. And I just engaging in a contract to hire him as my concierge doctor. So that's how addictive I am to like surrounding myself with great people. I'm either going to earn my relationship with you because I'm cool and you're cool and you want to be around me, or I'm going to pay you either way. Like I'm going to pay David Sinclair a significant amount of money to be my concierge doc. And then the other piece of that you mentioned was, what was the second question?
That was just what made you create GoBundance?
Yeah. So, part of the journey was Fred Gross, who wrote Black Belts of the Mind. He's a great coach. He's in New Zealand and he's a rabbi and all kinds of cool stuff. He taught this class. And in this class, he said, pick someone out and that's going to be your accountability partner. So I picked out this guy, Pat Hyben, in 1997. That began a journey of from 1997 to this day, Pat and I having a transparent, authentic life with one another, where we shared all our troubles, all our struggles. And we also shared our tax returns, our goals, our missions, our financials, our investments, everything. And our health, our fat, our body fat, our diastolic, systolic, everything. And it was very fruitful. And it helped me transform my life as a 29-year-old something guy that met this other 29-year-old something guy. And then in that journey, we met a guy, Tim Rode, who joined in with us. So the three of us became accountability partners, and we created all three of us are financially free. We're married to our same wives. We have kids. Well, actually, no, Tim's been divorced. I'm not judging divorce or marriage. What I'm saying is we became a village where we all worked hard together to be holistic human beings that were successful in a wide range of areas. Well, Garrett, we reached a point where we were sick of one another's stories. We were just tired. We loved what we'd created, but we're like, there's got to be a new person in here somewhere. So, and then we also said, let's stop going to conferences all the time and let's go do bucket list adventures. So we had these two pieces, and we invited 3 guys to join us in 2011, and they all said yes. We climbed Kilimanjaro. The next year we went to the Camino de Santiago and the world's biggest tomato fight. And the next year we formalized GoBundance. We're like, well, this one guy joined us from Tony Robbins. He goes, you guys have something here. This is actually really cool, that the world needs this. And we should create this as a place for men to grow stronger together, man to sharpen man. and create this transparency, authenticity, goal-driven, alpha, holistic health, relationship, fatherhood, husbandry, whatever kind of an environment. And we went like 11, 23, 45, 100. Now we're up to 500, and it's all been super organic. In fact, we almost made it a nonprofit because we didn't do it to make money. We did it to kind of expand what we were doing. And now it is a profitable business and it's super fun. But what's most fun about it is people come up to me all the time and they're like, the tribe, this is amazing. Like, there's just not enough places where people are authentic and transparent with people. And yet all of the growth comes from authenticity, vulnerability, and transparency. If you just beat your chest about how great you are, you can't grow. You can say like, look, I'm crushing this one area. I'm richer than anybody. Look at me. I got a private plane. In the meantime, if your kids hate you or your wife's about to divorce you and you're not sharing that, and that's what a lot of people do. They want to look good. Facebook is notorious for only the good stuff. But if you can actually be with 4 or 5 guys and in a tribe where our culture is to be authentic, and you can say, hey, I'm a little concerned. Like, I'm making all this money, but my wife and I were just getting colder and colder. Then there's going to be like, there's going to be all these, oh, that's the exact same thing I go through. Like, oh, that's exactly how it is for me. Like, one thing I learned about being a father and a husband is in business, you're like, we're charging that hill. Let's go. And everyone follows you. If you look back for your wife and kids, they're like, we don't want to climb that hill. They might early on when they first marry you and they're trying to please you, but when they've been with you long enough, they're like, no, you go have fun. I'm just going to eat popcorn and watch a movie today. You're like, oh, and you learn that all the things you've built, or I learned all the things I've done to build business. It's like families. Some of it's useful in family, but mostly in family, it's more about presence and time and really seeing the other person and trying to find what they need and give them what they need instead of what you think they need.